They say in the Old West, death has cold hands, but only one of them wears a silver ring and carries the scent of ancient gunpowder. And that morning in Deadwood, the dust brought a whisper. It wasn't the wind, it was a warning. Before we go, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment telling me what city or corner of the world you're watching from. Then grab your coffee, because this story reeks of old blood and buried truth. The town was still waking when old Tom Harper stumbled onto the saloon's porch, swaying like he'd danced with the devil all night. But it wasn't whiskey that made his eyes bulge. It was terror and something else. Clutched in his right hand, a ring, silver caked with dirt, the same one Wild Bill Hickok last saw on Elias Boone's finger, the gunslinger he buried with his own hands 5 years ago at the foot of Black Hollow's canyon. Harper dropped to his knees, chest heaving, beard soaked with sweat. He's back. He whispered before collapsing. Wild Bill was upstairs, playing poker with the devil in the form of marked cards and memories that won't let go. He rose slowly, as if his spine felt the weight of the past. Looked out the window, saw the old man. On the ground, saw the ring, and time stopped. The hand of the dead man. Nobody in that town knew, but that ring was more than metal. It was a promise. It was a curse. Descending the stairs, Hickok didn't say a word, just tightened his belt, adjusted his holster and spat on the floor. If Boone's walking again, then so am I. Outside, the sky brightened with fury, and a crow perched on the old gallows post cawed too loud to be mere chance. The folks of Deadwood whispered like their words were gunpowder. One spark could blow it all to hell. Wild Bill strode through the town's heart like a hound sniffing his own past. His boots hit the hard ground with dry thuds, while eyes hid behind curtains and whiskey glasses. He wasn't after justice. He wanted certainty. In the small jail cell, Tom Harper woke sweating and shaking. Bill leaned against the bars and waited, didn't ask, just looked. Harper swallowed hard. I swear. I saw him, Bill. Saw Boone walking in the canyon, paler than the bones we left behind, and that ring, the same damned ring. Wild Bill closed his eyes. The smell of the canyon returned. The sound of that last shot, the shallow grave, the unspoken promise. Boone had been a rabid dog, a killer without honor, died begging for mercy that never came, and Bill swore it ended there. But the West has its own laws. And they don't bury anyone proper. Outside, a wagon rolled by with 3 bodies under a tarp. Found them on the Black Hollow Road, the driver said, pale as chalk. Wasn't wolves, wasn't men, was something else. Bill pulled back the sheet slowly. 3 men, 3 faces twisted in fear, eyes wide like they'd seen hell rise up, and on one, a mark on the neck, not from a knife, from a nail, like a dead hand had gripped too hard. That night, Bill saddled his horse, shed his weathered leather coat, grabbed the revolver he only used when hell broke loose. Hanging from the cell, a scrap of old leather, E. Boone carved into it. Memory or warning? No one knew. The goal was clear as moonlight on cold steel. Wild Bill was heading back to the canyon to face the past, to find what or who had crawled out of the grave, because if the dead man's hand was moving again, someone had to cut it off once more. Black Hollow's canyon waited like an open tomb, and the wind blowing there wasn't just cold, it was memory. Down below, among black rocks and shadows that didn't obey the sun, something stirred, something that shouldn't. Wild Bill halted at the ridge. His horse flicked its ears, uneasy. Even animals hate a place where time seems frozen. He descended the slope slowly, each step a dry snap, like bones breaking in the dark. No trail, just instinct. The first thing he saw was the grave, shallow as he remembered, but open. The coffin, rotten and warped, lay beside it. Its boards burst from the inside out, as if something had broken free. It didn't take long to realize he wasn't. Alone, among the rocks, a figure tall, still watching. Wild Bill drew his revolver but didn't aim. Not yet. The figure stepped from the shadows with heavy steps, tall, broad shoulders, a shredded leather coat. The face, it was Boone, or something wearing his face, too pale, eyes sunken, black as a dry well, but alive, alive enough to hate. "You should have left me quiet, Bill," the voice scratched out, worn, like it had clawed. "Through 7 hells to reach his throat. I buried you," Bill said, calm as a man facing the inevitable. "You buried my body, but not what lingered in the dust." Boone raised his hand, the right one, the one with the silver ring. Now it was shining with a power not of this world. "I made a deal," Boone said, crooked smile twisting, "and now I'm here to collect yours." Behind him, shapes began to move. Men, or what was left of them, familiar faces, faces Bill had sent to the grave over the years. The past had come to settle the score, and it came armed. Wild Bill spun the revolver's cylinder. If the West had ghosts, he'd teach every one of them how to die again. The sky slammed shut suddenly, like a coffin lid crashing down. The air thickened, and the silence that followed was the kind that comes before rain, or a shootout. Wild Bill advanced, steady, eyes locked on the thing with a man's face and a soul of ancient dust. Behind Boone, 4 shadows crept down the slope like jackals, men who weren't men anymore, eyes without light, movements without soul. But their holsters still hung low. Bill didn't hesitate. His hand moved fast as legend demands. The first shot sliced the dry air and burst into one's chest. The body fell, but the dust around it didn't stir, like the world was holding its breath. The other 3 lunged together, dark, savage, but Bill spun like a knife fight. 1, 2, 3 shots, each bullet a name, each shot a reckoning with fate. Boone remained, standing, smiling. "Still haven't learned, Bill?" he said, plucking a bullet from his chest with his fingers. "I already died once. Wasn't enough." Bill felt the weight of time, of blood, of lives he'd crossed and left behind, but he also felt the fire, not the rage of the weak, the fury of those who endure. "I didn't come to kill you again, Boone," he said, voice steady. "I came to bury you proper." Boone charged with a dry scream, the ringed hand blazing like a blade under moonlight. Bill waited for the moment, didn't aim for the chest, aimed for the hand. 1 shot, clean, true. The ring flew from the shattered hand, spinning in the air like a broken curse. Boone froze. His body shuddered, his skin cracked like dry wood, and whatever was inside screamed, a scream that wasn't human nor animal. It was old, ancient as the earth itself. Boone fell to his knees, then to pieces, and finally to dust. The ring rolled too. Bill's feet, he glanced at it for a second, then crushed it under his boot. Hard, and the ground seemed to accept the end. The wind stirred. Now just wind, no voices, no whispers. But Wild Bill knew, legends don't die, they just sleep. Dawn broke slow, like stepping on shards of glass. The canyon was still, too still. Wild Bill Hickok gazed at the ground where Boone had turned to dust. Not a footprint, not a trace, just silence and a faint whiff of sulfur in the air. He lit a cigarette. The ember glowed against the gray sky. He smoked like a man burying memory. He mounted his horse with the calm of someone who knows the world's never at peace. Just truce. In the west, even truce bleeds. At Deadwood's edge, the townsfolk waited, faces hard. Some relieved, others just more haunted. Bill passed without a word. His gaze drifted, not to the horizon, but to what trailed behind, to what always did. Tom Harper, propped against the jail's porch, nodded faintly. Bill didn't nod back. Legends don't bow to fear. Hours later, the saloon reopened, cards shuffled again, glasses clinked, but nobody sat in Bill's chair. Not for bravery, not for respect, maybe superstition. On the wall, the old piano played a mournful tune, the kind that suits a man who's seen hell and returned with his soul in tatters. Because everyone in Deadwood knew Wild Bill didn't die in that canyon. But he didn't come back whole either. And there, amid glasses, smoke and whispers, a legend was born. The story of a man who faced the dead man's hand and won, or near enough. Now tell me, what's the next legend to ride these cursed plains? Drop it in the comments below. If you like this tale, hit that like, subscribe, tag leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss the next story of the West. And don't forget, in the Old West, if you stop, you're dust.